Welcome to my what's in the bag video. So firstly, sorry for dog noises. I have two dogs here. I'm at my mum's house and we are also sat in this, I think she's calling it like a COVID tent. She's really gone to town. She's got, I don't know, fairy lights and lamps and everything. And I've got a nice cup of tea. Also, if you ever want to impress me, get me some hot water with fresh lime, fresh ginger, fresh honey. I'm in. I'm all yours. I don't know if you've ever had it before. It's delicious. I think it's the honey. You want the set honey, so not the honey that looks see-through, the one that looks hard. So good. So good. Okay, let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my clubs first, talk through them with you, and then we'll have a look at the bag itself and then all of the pockets and whatever I've got in there, because I have no idea at this point, so it's as much as a surprise for me as it is for you. Let's start with the training stuff. So I always have these in my bag. These are alignment sticks. Now, they're really helpful for doing drills, but they're also really helpful for setting up your camera. So most of you will know I do online coaching. My coach is Stephen. He lives out in Malaysia actually. And in order for him to analyze my swing properly, he needs my camera to be set up in exactly the same way so that he can, you know, make sure that all of the swings like comparable, and he can properly see what I'm doing. So these are super, super important. They don't cost very much. These are from American Golf. There's two in here, and also helpful for your own drills as well. Also helpful for when you're trying to hit balls, angling yourself. Say for instance you want to shoot a certain way, you can make your feet aligned to the alignment sticks. And worst case scenario, don't have alignment sticks, I sometimes just put down a club if I ever forget these, so you can just put some clubs on the floor. Alright, that's that. Next we have my mini club. So you guys will probably have seen this a lot on my Instagram. It is a used club, been cut down to about 2 foot in height by one of my friends, and it is an old Wilson staff. This is great and I use it a lot for indoor drills, basically because I don't want to be smashing windows. Good for setup, also good for when you're watching the TV and you're practicing your grip. Now that's one thing people often forget, is your grip. It's really, really important, and I found just by testing grips in different ways that you can get so much more like wrist movement. So really important, you can focus on your grip. If you get one of these nice little clubs, you can sit in front of the TV, keep practicing taking your hands off, putting your hands back on. Really useful for a beginner when holding a club is a very foreign concept. Love, love, love this one. Probably my favourite in the bag, even though it's not even useful at all. So we're going to have a look at my clubs now. We're going to start with the putter and then we'll work our way up. So the putter I have is this one. It's an Odyssey. It's a white hot. It's actually second hand, so it's a used putter. I will probably look to get a new putter at some point. I just haven't at the moment, and I also don't have a head cover for it, so I think I need to get one. One thing I really love about golf is the fact that you can build it up. So you could start with, say, just a few clubs. So for instance, if I was a beginner and I was to restart or tell someone else who's just starting, I would say get a putter, a pitching wedge, a 7-iron and a driver, and maybe a sand wedge as well. I think that's all you really need to start with. And then through time, you can just buy one more every Christmas, every birthday, and before you know it, you've got a full set. And it's just really awesome. So yeah, I just really like building on things. It's much nicer rather than getting everything in one go. Sometimes it's kind of good to go along with your journey, and you'll see from my clubs that I've got quite a variety of different ones in there. So with my putter, I actually prefer the skinny grips rather than the thicker grips, and the reason for that for me is because I just prefer having that feel when I'm putting. I actually really like putting. I think it's really, really fun. But if the grip is too thick, I just feel like I don't know where the ball's going so much. This is a P2 grip, a Wear Tour in red, because I got a red dot here. So I thought, may as well make it match. Oh goodness, golf. I actually also really like blades, but this is just the one I have at the moment, and I will obviously look to get a new one at some point. I just haven't got round to it. I don't really know what I would get. I think I'd have to do some sort of custom fit for my putter, which I highly recommend. Custom fitting is honestly super, super good. And if you're getting someone into golf, get them putting. Just take them out on the course with you, let them do some putts. It's like really easy to kind of have a go at, and you know, who doesn't like to just get the ball in the hole? Moving on to the sand wedge. Okay, so I actually really want to get some new wedges. At the moment I've got like a sand wedge, a gap wedge and a pitching wedge, but I really want to start getting to understand all of the like degrees, like a 56, a 54, that type of thing. So that will be next steps, and I will document that as I go through it and learn about it, because it does seem like a different world. So this club is from much earlier on in my golfing career. It is a Kalea, actually, TaylorMade sand wedge, and it uses a graphite flex. So this is typically a women's club. Saying that, I don't believe that, you know, shafts should be considered men or women's. They should be like graphite, senior graphite, regular flex. The meaning of this is basically the fact that it's going to be a little bit more, a bit softer. So yeah, I mean, this is what I use at the moment. It's much lighter than my other clubs just because of the shaft. I do really like TaylorMade clubs. I think I just prefer the other ones I've got in my bag. So this one wasn't fitted for me. This was just part of a set that I was given, and it's just the one I have at the moment because I don't have any other wedges. But we will look to try and get some wedges at some point. This is just a standard fit. There's been no changes to it because it's straight off the shelf. So I'm going to walk through all of my irons with you now. They were all custom fit at American Golf end of last year, beginning of this year, so right at the beginning of my golfing journey. All built pretty much the same, following my custom fit. So they've all got the senior graphite shafts, which is going to be slightly stiffer than the Kaleas that I just showed you a minute ago. And they're all going to have this blue colouring. So Ping do their own kind of colour convention, and this blue colouring means it's going to be 1 degree upright. Now, the meaning of that is lie angle. So lie angle is effectively when your club is sat on the ground, the distance between the shaft and the ground. So if we're talking about 1 degree upright, it's going to come up a little bit, and it's going to basically move like that. So all of my shafts are the Smack Wrap recoils, and the length on these are standard. I'm also using Golf Pride grips on all of my clubs as well. I actually don't use my gap wedge that much. I'm not really sure why. I just never seem to be at the right distance for it. So this one tends to be a little less used. You hear how windy it is? It's so windy. Otherwise I'm going to blow away. Next we have my pitching wedge. All of the measurements same as before. Really like my pitching wedge. It's probably the club I would look to start with when I went to the range. I'd hit a few shots with this just because it's really nice to get some good ball flight, give you that bit of confidence. Also would recommend as the club in your starter beginners pack. It's just a really nice club. You can do shorter shots with it onto the green, you can do some longer shots, and it's just a really good one to kind of get you into golf, I would say. Any club that gives you some loft, so some height on the ball flight, I think is just, it's just really confidence growing. It makes you feel like you're actually playing golf. Other ones which require you to kind of shoot a bit lower, I think can be a little bit intimidating if you can't hit the ball. So get yourself a pitching wedge, they're great. Next we have the 9 iron, another really good club. Started using it more recently, initially wasn't using it that much, but I do really like it. Then we have 7 and an 8. I'd probably say these are 2 of my favourite clubs. Really started liking the 8, and the reason is just because I pulled out my bag first, started using it a lot, and I was like, really like this club. So it started to be my go-to a little bit. 7 irons, also a brilliant club if you want to start with. 2 great clubs, perfect for your beginner set. I would recommend one of these 2 to add to your bag if you're just trying to grow it as a starter pack. So last but not least, when it comes to the irons, we have my 6 iron. I often get confused with my 6 and my 9. Even though one of them has the underline underneath it, I still manage to mess it up. So always be careful when you're checking which club you're picking out for your bag that you've got the right one. So yeah, everything the same as before. I actually quite like this club as well because I can just get a bit more distance and I can just practice trying to hit the ball further. Also, when you get a clean 6 iron, amazing, love it. Actually, in fact, when you get any clean hit, amazing. If only it could happen all the time. We've got here a 4 hybrid 22 degree. Now, for all of my woods that I got custom fit most recently, these used standard specs, so I didn't have any changes in like the degree angle, etc. And we also moved then from the senior graphite flex to regular flex. So here we've got the Ventus shafts, which are regular flex, and we also have standard club size. So I'm 5'8" or 173 centimeters, depending on how you measure. So I'm not like super short, and I know a lot of women who play are probably a bit shorter than me, so it kind of makes sense to make sure that your club length is fitting for you. So yeah, this is a Sim Max. This is the lambkin grip. And to be honest with you, I haven't used this club that much. I think it's more of a confidence thing. I just haven't used it. So I think once I start practicing with it a bit more, knowing how far I hit it, I think that's one key thing is if you don't practice with your clubs, you don't actually know how far you end up hitting the ball. And so you then avoid using it because you think, oh, well, it could go anywhere. Actually, it might not help me. Maybe I'll just miss it. And sometimes when you think, oh, the ball should go this far with this club, and then it ends up going much shorter than, say, if I use like a 6 iron, you just start avoiding it. So I need to start practicing with it more. Get over my fear and see how useful this club could actually be. So, yeah. Nice club though. My 3 wood is 16 degree. We've got the Sim Max and we again have the regular flex shaft. This time this is the helium one, and we've also got a Golf Pride grip on this club. Length is the same, so just standard. So I've used this club a little bit more, mainly because the club face is slightly bigger, so I just think, oh, I'm probably going to have more of a chance of actually hitting the ball. So I've just ended up practicing with this more than I have with my hybrid. Great clubs. I really love the TaylorMade Sim Maxes. I honestly think the shafts have helped a lot with me. I'll talk about that more in a second when I show you my driver. Last but not least, and I think is now my favourite club in the bag. I used to hate the driver so much. I used to hate it because it was so hard. I just couldn't hit the ball and I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was using the Kalea TaylorMade. So, you know, the sand wedge I showed you earlier, I was using the driver version of that set. But now we have upgraded ourselves to the Sim Max, and this is a 10.5 degree driver. Got standard loft, so everything again is standard. We've got the regular flex shaft, which is the Ventus, and then we have the TaylorMade Golf Pride grips here too. So absolutely love this club. I just think it's so great. I actually tried, what did I try? I tried the Ping G410s, and I also tried the Callaway Mavericks. Now, when I tried all of them, I just connected so much better with the TaylorMades, and I really just recommend anyone to go and get a custom fit just to try out some clubs. Even if you don't buy them, at least you know what feels better for you, because I didn't really see the value in trying out different clubs, especially if you don't know how to hit them very well. You'd be quite surprised, even not knowing much about golf, when you hit a ball with a different club, it does feel super, super different. It's the same with, like, I don't know, a tennis racket. You know, some tennis rackets you're like, this is rubbish, whereas other ones you'd be like, oh, I seem to be able to hit it so much better off this. So highly recommend. Everything is just personal preference. I just love this club so much. I've been practicing with it so much more. It's given me so much more confidence. And what I just really enjoy is the fact that I'm not scared of it. So I actually read a tip, and it was from Mike Berry's Instagram, and it basically said if you want to start dropping your scores as a beginner, you really need to get to grips with your driver. Putting is great once you can actually get onto the green, but unless you get onto the green, then you're not really going to have much luck. So that's kind of inspired me, as well as a quote from Anne Van Dan, which was basically, if in doubt, drive. I was like, I want to be that person who is able to just drive the ball, get it onto the green, be able to control it, and then, you know, putt for birdie. Anyway, goals. But yeah, absolutely love this club. If anyone is debating whether to try it, to buy it, just have a go. You've got nothing to lose. So I've just moved to the floor just because I think it's easier to show you this way. Also, if you've ever seen me working in any environment, I just can't sit in the same place. I'll be 1 minute sat on a chair, next minute I'll be like squatting, next minute I'll be lying down. Literally, I'm always moving. I don't know why, I just can't sit still. So anyway, it makes sense that I've suddenly gone onto the floor. So let's have a look. So this is the Wilson's Quiver bag, and I really, really like it because it is super lightweight. I also have a motor caddy trolley and a motor caddy bag, so that kind of is much bigger, goes on the trolley, I don't actually have to carry it, whereas this is much better if I'm just walking. So the difference I would say with this is I actually had to change the straps. So here we've got padded straps now, so it used to be different. And just as someone who, you know, is buying a bag, I'd say straps are super important if you're planning on walking around with them, especially for women, because we often wear tops which, you know, bear a bit of skin on our shoulders, and if the strap's rubbing on it, it just isn't very comfortable. So yeah, I just got these changed so they were a bit more padded, and means that when I'm walking around, it's just quite nice. Also have a matching towel. Always have a towel on your golf bag because you don't want to have any mud on your clubs when you're playing. It just isn't convenient and annoying. A tip I also got as well is wet part of your towel. So if I say wet the bottom part, much easier to clean as you're going around, and then you can dry it off with the top part, say. So top tip for you. Okay, let's have a look at what's in my pockets because I have no idea. So actually this one down here is meant for water bottles. I typically use it for my tripod, so always put my tripod in there. My tripod goes everywhere with me. It's just from Amazon. It was about 20 or 30 pounds, but it means I can always film my swings wherever I am and do videos like these for you. So always in here, and also if I can fit in a water bottle I will. Sometimes I have to just ram it, but handy. Okay, should we have a look in this pocket? Let's have a look at what's in this pocket. So typically this is where I would store my balls. So we have some airflow balls in here, which are good for practicing inside. So this is what people use for trick shots. These are what people use to like practice chipping just inside, so you're not going to break anything. They're actually quite soft, and these are from American Golf actually. So useful to have. Also in here I have a whole range of balls. I actually really like playing with the Callaway Super Softs. They're actually all in my Moto Caddy bag at the moment. But in here we have a Pro V1 Titleist. We have a TaylorMade. We have, I don't even know what this is, like a range ball or something. This one's a range ball. So one good tip is on eBay or other sites as well, you can get lake balls, and basically lake balls are balls which have been, I don't know, thrown out on the course, lost, and then found again, cleaned up, and you can buy them. So I really like lake balls because you're reusing, you know, balls that you're probably going to lose anyway. They're much cheaper, and they're pretty decent as well. So get some lake balls, or you could just get a mix of balls, which will include things like these range balls that I've got here. And like if I pulled out a whole handful, I've got some Wilsons, which Duo soft Wilsons, which are nice to play with. So I don't know what level your golf is, but you'll definitely find the more you play, the more you'll be able to feel a ball. So I actually quite like the soft balls. These Wilson Duo softs are really nice, but like I said, my go-to would be the Callaway Super Softs. Rifes, these are just one of the American Golf balls. God knows what that one is. And then yeah, got my Titleist Pro Vs. Oh, and I've also got Strixon in here. Okay, so moving on to my next pocket, we have, where is it? This is like one of those mini pockets, you know, with the velvety insides, which is usually for your valuables. But in here I just have, well, I have my glove, so I use a Wilson's glove, a white one, and I've got a few teas. So we've got pink tea, a normal tea, and an orange tea. Typically I would just use wooden teas. Don't know how they ended up in there. Probably found them, picked them up, and pocketed them. But yeah, typically I just use like wooden teas, but I don't seem to have any long ones. This one's quite short, so I wouldn't be able to drive off it. But yeah, pink ones are good for beginners when you're trying to learn to drive because it sets you up at the right height. That's all I have in there. I was hoping to find some snacks. Didn't find any snacks. And then in this really big pocket, oh, we've got a rain mac in here. Useful. And then just a cover for my clubs if it's raining. It's actually quite neat in there, to be honest. So I hope you have enjoyed my What's in the Bag video. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, you can do so at @LX, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, entirely up to you. Putting links below to each. And yeah, if you want to get in touch, just drop a comment, or alternatively DM me on Insta if you have a question, or drop a comment on any of my Insta posts as well.